I'm here today with Laura of Burning Witches to talk about the upcoming new record, The Dark Tower, out May 5th on Napalm Records. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Always a pleasure to have you on the channel. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know what? I'm better now that you're here, and we're going to talk some Burning Witches, and we're going to talk about this record, a record that I really enjoy, and a record that had some elements that I wasn't expecting from you guys. And perhaps the first thing that I wasn't expecting is that this album feels and sounds very dark. And I know the name of the album is The Dark Tower, so
Yeah.
there is darkness in the title. But do you feel like this is perhaps one of the darkest albums you guys have done?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, we really, wanted something more heavy this time. So we did aim to do something like that, and this is also why we chose to, write around this theme of the Countess Battery that was eventually locked into this dark tower, or actually locked into her own home, and we made it a dark tower, right? So, yeah.
You mentioned that you wanted to make a heavier album. When I listened to this record, the production behind it and the sound behind it, there's definitely a little bit more thickness to it. The guitars sound thick, the drums sound thick, everything feels like very robust. Was that something that you guys felt that maybe was lacking on the previous albums, and you guys have it in you to make a heavier sounding record?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, lacking is a big word, but we were just, we just wanted to do something like this. We just felt like this, and yeah, I guess it goes along with this darker vibe, right? It's just a different vibe, and it's I mean, it's subtle, I think, but it is there indeed. It is more robust and a bit heavier, yeah.
Are those the elements that you see that set this album apart from the previous records, or is there something else in there that maybe fans won't notice as much, but you that were there in previous albums and recording, that you see that this album is a little bit different?
Yeah, I mean, we did, try to get in, a bit more harmonic, harmonized solos and stuff like that. So I don't know if this stands out or not, but maybe indeed in general, because it's a bit darker again. But I think we did it on one of the some of the older songs. We also did this, but this whole album, yeah, we wanted that. So.
You guys changed labels. You went from Nuclear Blast to Napalm Records. Did that have any impact whatsoever, or did you see any changes, or is there any visible changes for you as the artist going from one label to the other when it came to creating a new album?
Well, I mean, not really, I guess. I mean, you don't really notice that much as an artist, being an artist, I think. But for us, like, one of the important things was that that is, I guess, more important also for the fans, is as an old school heavy metal band, you also want to have these nice cool merchandisings that kind of fit with it, so vinyls, cassette tape, we have all these cool things. And yeah, Nuclear Blast got taken over by a French company back in the days, because it's a while ago now. I forgot how long ago, but yeah, they didn't have this much physical storage space basically to be able to sell this. And for us it's important, especially because we like the 80s, and yeah, so we decided to go with Napalm, and they do have this. And actually the old boss of Nuclear Blast now is Atomic Fire Records, and he's also helping us with some vinyls, so yeah.
It's nice to see that you guys still keep those relationships, and you still keep those friendships, and you're still able to collaborate. That says a lot about you guys. It says a lot about them, but also says a lot about you. Now, when it came to making this album, considering that you guys wanted that thicker sound, that heavier sound, the album definitely has that dark tone to it. Did that make the album process more challenging for you?
No. Nah, I think it's not really. I mean, we just in a way it's kind of like, for me it's kind of like the same, and I think for everyone, I guess, as previous album, we also decided on a theme. Of course it was a bit different. Witch of the North, and now it's the Dark Tower. So yeah, we all knew that we wanted to go for something a bit heavier, and just keeping that in mind, I guess, and with this theme that is about the first serial killer in history that's ever recorded, Countess Battery. So can't really go wrong, basically. You just have to go with the flow a bit within what you decide to do, right? So I guess, yeah, I think it came pretty natural if you get into this whole concept a bit, and yeah.
Easy peasy for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, every band, whenever they release a new album, it's always their best record ever. I mean, like, no band will ever release an album and say that this album is not our best album. So what makes this the band's best album in your mind?
Well, I think, something I always hear from people that listen to us, and is that every album, you can hear we grow as musicians and as a band, and I think you can hear it indeed. I think we have some really cool riffings and drum parts, and and yeah, it's weird to say about yourself, I guess, but I think some people really love that this album I also sang a bit heavier because of this theme, right? So I guess it's just a bit of a slight development again that you can hear. So I guess that's, yeah. So is it better if you like this dark vibe? Then it's better,
I do. I honestly feel like this is the best album since you joined the band. It's
Correct.
a really cool record. I like the dark tones, and I like your voice a lot. And that's where I want to ask you next. You sounded different on this record,
Yeah.
maybe more organic, a little bit lower at times.
Mm.
Did you change anything? Have you done any work between records? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
this album.
I kind of always I always practice a bit, and then I do a cover, and I try to take like techniques that other people do. I try to take them into my I try to take them into my own routine a bit, and yeah, I did try to position. Now it gets technical. I try to position it a bit lower. Also, if I go up, I try to do it a bit less. I mean, I still do it. The wide scream. Basically, it kind of like emphasizes the higher frequencies of the voice. And if you do instead of, it kind of sounds lower, right? So it's kind of different frequencies. So I try to do a bit more of this lower frequency thing. Just to not get it too complicated. But yeah, I did try to do that. So maybe that's something, but I think mostly it's, hey Laura, do a bit louder, a bit more distortion. Yeah, even a bit more. You know what I mean? That this is how it went in the studio. So I think mostly it was just to get this evil vibe in there for this album. I think that mostly happened in the studio to give that extra bit, and maybe because of doing so many gigs in the year before, because basically we had a lot of gigs, but then COVID happened, so we had more and more gigs waiting for us, right? So we had a very busy year, and maybe because of that, I don't know, maybe because of that my voice got even more into this heavy stuff, because I already did it, of course, but now I do it more, basically. So I guess this is for the voices, the different part.
I honestly, I thought you sounded phenomenal on this record. From the vibe of the album, your voice really carries that vibe really well. It really carries the story that you're telling on every single song really well. It's still the old Laura there. It's just, I felt like you went in you added a few little pieces that really made your voice feel more powerful all around throughout this album. And I thought was absolutely phenomenal. When you look at your first record with Burning Witches, and now you look at this record, are you a different person? Are you a different singer?
Ooh, I mean, I do notice that I also developed my voice in that period, so things get basically easier in general. It gets a bit easier, and also I was really used to doing everything with this, with the twang thing. Basically, if you, okay, here we go technical again. I guess the biggest difference is I shifted a bit more to this instead of you know, and this I think I can now switch better, and I think it was more difficult for me to use this part. The technical part. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how to quickly explain without getting too technical and too boring. But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest difference. I got more used to that part and more used to singing like crazy. I'm almost like a chainsaw, right? Like crazy distorted. So yeah.
Also being in the band now for a longer period of time, being more familiar versus the first record, being more familiar with the ladies in the band, hanging
Mm.
out. You guys are like a big family. I always see you guys posting pictures, all of you together hanging out. Does that also have an impact in terms of giving you a little bit more freedom, making you feel more comfortable in the environment that you're in?
Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, the studio is always a different vibe, right? Because you get into working mode and into the mode of, oh, we only have so much time to do everything. I don't know. I think studio is a whole different thing, but I definitely love that, you know, we have fun with each other. We can talk about anything. Sometimes it gets yeah, you know, it can get personal, you know what I mean? That's nice. You can also, you know, share your life with each other. So yeah, I like that definitely. So I wouldn't necessarily say, yeah, I don't know if that means anything for studio because it's such a different thing. You know what I
It's such a
mean?
different
I mean,
vibe.
they also come visit, but I do a lot of work, to be honest, also with Pulver and Smear in the studio, and and Romana, she's yeah, she's also sometimes there, but most of the time it's just, you know, Pulver there and Smear, and I don't know, it's a different vibe. But yeah, they do also feel a bit like, you know, he's a bit like the band dad, though, you know what I mean? So um yeah, to be honest, I know him slightly less good than, of course, you know, everyone in the band itself. But he does feel a bit like this father figure in a way. He wants to try and get the best out of you, and you know, yeah.
He's like the extra member of the band that doesn't play but motivates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you guys have also two covers, a Wasp cover and a Aussie cover on this record. You guys are not strange to covers. You've done covers before. What was it about these two songs that I don't know piqued your interest and you guys decided to cover them and add them to the release?
Yeah. Well, they're both, I think, really fit the dark theme, right? Because Wasp is the shock rock band of the 80s, and Ozzy Osbourne, Prince of Darkness, you know, bit, yeah, the obvious story. He bit the head of a bat, right? So I don't know. It fitted for, you know, it was kind of cool to choose something like that to do the covers for, and it's, you know, they're nice songs. So
Was it is it just fun to do the covers or you take something more out of the covers than just having fun? Do you look at the covers as an opportunity to try some new techniques or trying some new things?
um, well, mostly it needs to fit the album a bit. You know, I don't really personally, at least. I mean, I'm not sure if Romana you know, I don't know what Romana's thought process was, if she thought about anything like that, but um yeah, I think mostly it has to fit the album a bit in one way or another. Um yeah, so technically I guess yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I kind of use what I'm comfortable with, right, in the studio. Um so I don't think yeah, I don't think so.
Do you have a favorite song on this record? Is there one that appeals more to you that you connected more with?
It's always a difficult question for me because I like something in every song, and it's really hard to pick one out that kind of stands out to me. It's always difficult. But for the moment, I'm really enjoying Evil Witch. I think it's fun, and it has a witch in it, you know, and it has this dark vibe, and
It's one of the best songs on the record as far as I'm concerned. I love that track. I love the chorus. The chorus is super hooky, very catchy chorus.
yeah.
You guys, you mentioned you've been playing a lot of shows post-COVID. You guys have been busy, but you haven't played Canada yet. Are you
No.
are you guys having some plans in the future to do a bigger North American tour that includes some Canadian dates?
Yeah, I really hope so. Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult to do everything at the same time, isn't it? But I really hope that will happen indeed. Actually, my grandmother lives in Canada, so it would be cool so I can visit. And yeah, we do, we are looking into going to the West Coast of the USA. So I don't know if we also can go to Canada a bit. Let's see. Let's hope.
I hope so. I hope to see you guys in Toronto at some point in time soon. Now, last question for you. When you look back at the time that you've spent with the band, what's the best thing about being one of the Burning Witches?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's two things, to be honest, because I'm always very goal oriented, so I kind of just wanna, I wanna be able to be busy with my passion, but at the same time, yeah, you got a group of friends with it, it comes with the package. So yeah, that's good.
Well, Laura, thank you very much for taking time today to speak with me about Burning Witches in the Dark Tower. I know every band says this, but this is one of the band's best record, definitely the best record since you've joined the band. I love it. I think it's so cool, heavy, dark, old school to a certain extent, very old school heavy metal. I absolutely love it. So once again, thank you very much and all the best.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.